I want to tell you about the first time I rode my e-bike in the rain without fenders. Soaked from the waist down within 4 minutes, a stripe of road grime running straight up my back like someone had drawn a line on me with a dirty marker, and a face full of spray every time I hit a puddle. The bike cost over $1,000. The fenders that would have prevented the entire situation cost $18. That is the kind of thing this video exists to prevent. These 25 accessories are not glamorous, but every single one of them is going to make you wonder how you ever rode without it. Why the right accessories change. Everything. Here is something that does not get said enough in the e-bike world, and honestly in the cycling world in general. The bike itself is only part of the equation. A genuinely great riding experience is not just about which motor you have or how many watt hours are in your battery. It is built from the combination of the bike and the collection of small, often inexpensive things you layer on top of it over time. The problem is that most riders figure this out the hard way, one inconvenient or uncomfortable or genuinely dangerous experience at a time. They ride without lights until a close call with a car turning across them at dusk makes them reconsider the whole approach. They ride without a proper lock until they come back from a 30-minute grocery run to find an empty bike rack where their e-bike used to be. They ride without a phone mount until they miss a critical turn, pull over to check their phone in their pocket, and end up standing on the side of a road they do not recognize trying to figure out where they went wrong. Every one of those situations is completely avoidable, and the thing that makes them avoidable is usually something that costs less than a decent lunch. The accessories on this list exist at the intersection of practical and affordable. We are not talking about carbon fiber components or performance upgrades that only make sense if you are competing at a serious level. We are not talking about things that require a professional mechanic to install or a spreadsheet to justify the cost. We are talking about things that cost anywhere from $5 to around $100 that solve real problems you are either already dealing with or are going to deal with very soon if you keep riding regularly, and if you ride regularly, you should be dealing with them sooner rather than later. We've organized this list into categories because dumping 25 things at you in random order is not a particularly useful way to spend anyone's time. We are going to cover safety and visibility first because those come before everything else, then security, because your e-bike costs real money and deserves to still be there when you come back to it. Then comfort and ergonomics, because riding a bike that does not fit your body properly is a miserable experience you do not have to accept. Then storage and carrying, because one of the great underappreciated joys of e-bike ownership is how much you can actually haul on these things when you set them up properly. Then maintenance and tools, because an e-bike that breaks down 10 miles from home with no means of repair is an expensive and frustrating walk. And finally, a short category of things that do not fit neatly anywhere else, but absolutely earn their place on this list. Let us get into it. Safety and visibility. These are the accessories that are not optional. They are not nice to have. They are the baseline minimum for riding responsibly, and if you have been putting any of them off, today is the day that changes. Number 1, front and rear lights. If your e-bike did not come with integrated lighting and you have been riding without lights, we need to have a direct conversation about that right now. Riders without lights are effectively invisible to drivers in low light conditions, and low light conditions cover a lot more territory than most people think. We are not just talking about night riding, we are talking about dawn commutes, dusk rides home, overcast autumn afternoons, rides under tree cover, tunnels, underpasses, parking garages, and anywhere else the ambient light drops below what a driver scanning the road ahead is expecting to deal with. You are invisible before you even realize it. A decent front light that produces at least 400 lumens for road riding costs somewhere between $20 and $50. If you're doing any trail riding or unlit path riding where you actually need to see the ground in front of you rather than just be seen by others, go for something in the 800 to 1,000 lumen range. The rear light is equally critical and costs $10 to $20 for a solid option. Look specifically for a rear light with a flashing mode because motion registers faster in peripheral human vision than a static light does, and getting registered early is the whole point. Some rear lights now incorporate brake sensing technology, meaning they increase in brightness the moment you start decelerating, giving drivers behind you a warning analogous to brake lights on a car. That technology is available for around $30 and is one of the smarter safety investments on this entire list. Get the lights, run them even during daylight hours. The data on daytime running lights and accident reduction is not ambiguous. Number 2. Helmet with MIPS protection. Yes, a helmet is an accessory. Yes, you already know you should be wearing one consistently. And yes, if we are being completely honest, a meaningful number of riders watching this video are not wearing one on every single ride. Maybe just the short ones. Maybe just the familiar routes. Maybe just when the weather is nice. We understand the reasoning. We are not going to stand here and pretend we have never left the house without one. But at the speeds an e-bike reaches, a fall without a helmet is a categorically different event from a fall with one. And that difference is not recoverable after the fact. MIPS, which stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection System, is a low-friction layer inside the helmet that allows a small amount of rotational movement on impact. That matters because rotational force, the kind generated when your head hits the ground at an angle rather than straight on, is the force most associated with serious traumatic brain injury. Helmets with MIPS now start around $50, which is an entirely reasonable price point for something you are wearing on your head every time you ride. A helmet with integrated rear lighting, which turns your helmet itself into a visibility tool, starts around $60. Neither price point is a meaningful obstacle to proper protection. Number 3, fenders. We covered the personal experience in the intro, and I think the image of a full stripe of road grime up the back of a jacket speaks clearly enough for itself. Front and rear fenders keep spray off you, off your clothing, off your drivetrain, and off any other rider who happens to be behind you. A full fender set in aluminum or plastic costs between $15 and $40, depending on material and quality. Installation takes around 20 minutes and requires only basic tools. The return on that investment arrives the first time you ride in anything other than perfectly dry conditions, which if you ride with any regularity is going to happen sooner than you plan for. A lot of riders in dry climates think fenders are not relevant to them. Those riders have never been caught out by an unexpected afternoon shower 8 miles from home. Number 4, bell or horn. This gets overlooked to a degree that is genuinely baffling given how inexpensive and useful it is. A bell is legally required for cycling in many regions and practically essential on any shared path, trail, or mixed-use space. The average pedestrian with headphones in is completely unaware of what is happening around them. Dog walkers are watching their dogs. Parents are watching their children. Joggers are watching their heart rate monitors. None of them are watching for a quiet e-bike approaching from behind at 15 miles per hour. A simple ring bell costs $5. An e-bike specific electric horn that produces genuinely impossible to ignore sound costs around $20. Get one. Use it proactively and consistently. Be the rider that people hear coming in time to move calmly rather than the rider that causes someone to jump sideways in panic because they had no warning. Number 5, reflective vest or ankle bands. Lights handle frontal and rear visibility. Reflective gear fills in the angles that lights do not cover, particularly the sides. A reflective vest costs around $15 and transforms your visibility to drivers approaching from perpendicular directions at intersections, which is one of the highest risk scenarios in urban cycling. Reflective ankle bands pull double duty by keeping trouser fabric away from the chain, while also placing a moving reflective element at precisely the height that sits in most drivers' headlight beams. Movement at that height registers quickly in peripheral vision. $10 for the bands, $15 for the vest, $25 total to be visible from every direction. That math is hard to argue with. Security. Your e-bike costs real money. Protecting it is not paranoia, it is just basic math. Number 6, U-lock. If you are locking your e-bike with a cable lock, you are not actually securing your bike. You are giving a thief about 45 seconds of inconvenience before they cut through it and ride away. A quality U-lock from a reputable brand like Kryptonite or Abyss runs between $40 and $80 and is the minimum appropriate security for any e-bike left in a public space. Lock through the frame and rear wheel to a fixed immovable object, not a signpost that can be lifted out of the ground, not a railing with a gap wide enough to slide the lock over the top. Something genuinely fixed, something that costs more effort to defeat than it is worth. Number 7. Folding lock or chain lock for secondary security. One lock secures your frame. What is securing your front wheel, your seat, or your removable battery? A secondary folding lock or a heavy chain lock used in combination with your U-lock closes the gaps that a single lock leaves open. Folding locks are particularly versatile because they can reach angles and anchor points that a rigid U-lock cannot. Budget around $30 to $60 for a decent secondary option, and think of it as the cost of the peace of mind that lets you actually enjoy your coffee while your bike sits outside. Number 8. GPS tracker. A lock keeps honest people honest and makes theft harder. A GPS tracker helps you get your bike back when someone determined enough gets past the lock anyway. Small GPS trackers designed for bicycle security now cost as little as $25 with a modest monthly subscription fee, and some operate without any subscription at all using Bluetooth crowdsourced location networks. Hide it inside the handlebars, inside the frame, or anywhere it is not immediately obvious to someone who has just stolen your bike and is looking for reasons to ditch it. The recovery rate for tracked bikes is dramatically higher than for untracked ones. Number 9. Seat lock or locking skewers. Quick-release seat posts and quick-release wheels are incredibly convenient for legitimate owners and equally convenient for thieves. Replacing your standard quick-release hardware with locking skewers that require a specific key to operate costs around $20 and removes 2 of the easiest targets from your bike in about 10 minutes. A dedicated seat lock provides similar protection for a removable seat post. Small upgrade, meaningful deterrent. Comfort and ergonomics. Riding a bike that does not fit your body properly is like wearing shoes a size too small. Technically functional, actually miserable. These accessories fix that. Number 10. Ergonomic grips. The grips that come on most e-bikes are fine in the same way that airline food is fine. They are adequate and completely uninspiring. After an hour of riding, especially on anything other than perfectly smooth pavement, standard grips concentrate pressure on the ulnar nerve on the outside of your palm, which leads to the numb, tingly hands that a lot of riders just accept as normal. They are not normal. They are a grip problem. Ergonomic grips with a wider palm support area and a slight downward tilt redistribute that pressure across a larger surface. Good ergonomic grips run between $15 and $35 and transform long rides in a way that is completely disproportionate to how simple the upgrade is. Number 11. Suspension seat post. If your e-bike does not have rear suspension and you ride on anything other than smooth tarmac, a suspension seat post is the single highest impact comfort upgrade available to you. It replaces your existing rigid seat post with one that has a small amount of built-in travel, absorbing the vertical impacts that come up from the road through the saddle. The difference on a rough road or a path with tree roots and cracks is dramatic. Entry-level suspension seat posts start around $40. Better ones with more refined damping run up to around $80. Either way, it is money very well spent. Number 12. Comfort saddle. We touched on this in the Comfort e-bikes video, and it bears repeating here. The stock saddle on most e-bikes is not designed for long, comfortable rides. It is designed to a price point and a weight target. A proper comfort saddle designed to your sight bone width and your preferred riding position can completely change how long you want to ride and how you feel when you are done. Wide cruiser-style saddles with gel padding run from $20 to $50. Performance comfort saddles with cutouts and ergonomic shaping run from $40 to $80. Either way, upgrading from the stock saddle is one of the most impactful things you can do for under $100. Number 13. Bar ends or handlebar. Riser. Handlebar position has an enormous effect on riding comfort, particularly over longer distances. Bar ends attach to the ends of flat handlebars and provide an additional hand position that takes pressure off your wrists and gives your hands somewhere different to rest. They cost about $10 to $20. A handlebar riser stem, which replaces your existing stem with one that positions the bars higher and slightly closer to you, runs around $30 to $50 and can turn an uncomfortable forward-leaning riding position into a genuinely relaxed, upright one. If your back or neck hurts after every ride, start here before anything else. Number 14. Padded cycling shorts or seat cover. Look, we know padded cycling shorts are not exactly a fashion statement, but neither is spending the last hour of a long ride shifting around in your saddle trying to find a position that does not hurt. Padded shorts run from $20 to $50, and the difference on rides over an hour is significant. If shorts are not your preference, a gel seat cover that slides over your existing saddle provides similar cushioning for around $15. Not glamorous, genuinely effective. Storage and carrying. One of the things that makes e-bikes such practical transportation tools is how much you can carry on them. These accessories unlock that capability properly. Number 15. Rear rack. If your e-bike did not come with a rear rack, adding one opens up an enormous range of carrying options. A rear rack gives you a platform for panniers, cargo bags, bungee-strapped loads, and kid seats. Most aluminum rear racks, rated to 25 kilograms or more, cost between $25 and $50 and fit a wide range of standard e-bike frames. If you ever want to carry anything on your e-bike beyond what fits in your pockets, start with the rear rack. Number 16. Panniers or rear bag. A rear rack without bags is half the solution. Panniers, which are bags that hook on either side of a rear rack, give you genuine carrying capacity for groceries, work gear, gym clothes, or anything else you might want to bring along. Waterproof panniers start around $30 a pair. Better quality options with proper waterproofing and robust attachment systems run around $60 to $80. A simple rack-top bag that sits on top of the rack rather than hanging off the sides offers a more streamlined option for smaller loads at around $20 to $40. Number 17. Frame bag or top tube bag. For riders who want to carry a few small essentials without adding anything to the rear of the bike, a frame bag or top tube bag sits inside the main triangle of the frame or along the top tube. These are ideal for a phone, keys, a small toolkit, and an energy bar or two. They keep weight low and central on the bike, which is better for handling than weight on the back. Good frame bags start around $15 and go up to around $40 for more refined options, with better waterproofing and cleaner installation. Number 18. Bungee cargo net. This is the most unglamorous item on the entire list, and also one of the most genuinely useful. A bungee cargo net for about $8 to $12 stretches over whatever you need to transport on your rear rack and holds it securely without requiring bags or boxes. Picked up something at the hardware store that does not fit in a bag? Cargo net. Grabbed a jacket and want to carry it on the rack rather than wearing it? Cargo net. It is the kind of thing that once you have it, you use it constantly and wonder why you waited so long. Maintenance and tools. An e-bike that breaks down and cannot be fixed on the road is a very expensive push toy. These accessories prevent that situation. Number 19. Portable mini pump or CO2 inflator. A flat tire away from home with no means of inflation is one of cycling's most avoidable frustrations. A quality mini pump that mounts to the frame costs around $15 to $25 and will inflate any tire you are likely to encounter. CO2 inflators are faster and more compact at around $10 to $15 but require cartridge refills. Keep one or the other on the bike at all times, not in your garage. On the bike. Number 20. Patch kit and spare. Inner tube. The pump gets the tire back to rideable. The patch kit and spare tube mean you actually have something to inflate. A patch kit costs around $5. A spare inner tube in the correct size for your wheel costs around $8 to $12. Together, they represent the difference between a minor inconvenience that costs you 10 minutes and a major inconvenience that costs you a 2-mile walk. Keep them in your frame bag or a small saddlebag under your seat. Number 21. Multi-tool. A cycling multi-tool with the appropriate hex key sizes for your e-bike's bolts, a chain tool, and a screwdriver or two costs between $15 and $30 and handles the vast majority of roadside mechanical adjustments you are ever likely to need. Loose handlebars, a slipping saddle, a rattling component. Most of these can be sorted in 2 minutes with the right tool. Without it, you are riding whatever is wrong all the way home. Number 22. Chain lubricant. A dry or dirty chain on an e-bike puts extra load on the motor, degrades shifting performance, wears your drivetrain faster, and produces that unpleasant grinding sound that every nearby cyclist can hear. A bottle of appropriate chain lubricant, wet lube for wet conditions, dry lube for dry ones, costs around $8 to $12 and takes about 3 minutes to apply. Do it every 200 to 300 miles or after any ride in wet conditions. Your drivetrain will last significantly longer and your riding experience will be noticeably smoother. The extras that are just worth it. Number 23, phone mount. Your phone is your navigation, your ride tracker, your emergency communication device, and your music source. Having it accessible and visible on the handlebars rather than buried in a pocket transforms how you use it on the bike. A quality handlebar phone mount costs between $10 and $30. Look for one with a proper locking mechanism, rather than just a rubber grip, because road vibration on an e-bike is enough to shake a poorly secured mount loose over time. Wireless charging mounts that keep your phone topped up while you ride are now available for around $40 to $50 and are a genuinely clever upgrade if you rely on your phone heavily during rides. Number 24, rear view mirror. This is one of those accessories that sounds slightly optional until the first time you actually ride with one and realize you have been navigating traffic for years with no idea what was behind you. A handlebar-mounted or helmet-mounted rear-view mirror gives you the ability to check traffic without taking your eyes fully off the road ahead. For riders who do any amount of road riding in traffic, this is a safety tool as much as a convenience. Good handlebar mirrors start around $15. Helmet-mounted options run around $25. Number 25, waterproof handlebar bag. We close out the list with something that sounds simple but delivers an outsized improvement to everyday riding. A small waterproof handlebar bag mounted at the front of the bike directly in your eye line is the most accessible storage position on any bicycle. Reach in without stopping for your phone, your sunglasses, your snack, your lip balm, whatever it is you find yourself fishing around for mid-ride. Waterproof options that keep your contents dry in rain start around $25. Once you have ridden with one, you will genuinely wonder why it is not standard equipment on every e-bike sold. 25 accessories. The majority of them under $30. All of them solving problems that real riders encounter on real rides in the real world. The e-bike itself is the foundation, but these are the things that turn a good ride into a great one and a frustrating ride into something that never has to happen again. Start with the safety items if you have not addressed those yet, then security, then comfort, then carrying capacity, then tools. And if you want to buy everything on this list today, we want to be upfront that the total bill is still going to be less than what most people spend upgrading a single component on a conventional road bike, which is either a beautiful irony or a very satisfying piece of math, depending on how you look at it. Drop a comment below telling us which one of these you are buying first. We genuinely read every comment, and we would love to know which accessory on this list is solving the problem you have been putting up with the longest. Hit the like button, subscribe if you found this useful, and we will see you in the next one.